A taser is only effective or useful in a certain number of instances, but when it is, boy is it helpful. Want to take your knowledge beyond the narrated videos? Join us on Active Self-Protection Extra and subscribe for multiple videos every week to help you get better in your defensive skills. Hi everyone, this is John with today's Active Self-Protection lesson out of England. Here we're going to see an officer-involved incident against a man who is threatening people and has 2 knives and is advancing on officers. And we're going to learn important lessons here about the appropriate way to use a taser and when it's a useful tool. Number 2, about partner tactics and communication. And number 3, about how to end a threat by keeping appropriate distance. Officers have been called on this call because this man, in anger and being drunk, has stuck 2 very large knives in a desk, and people freaked out, called the cops. Let's listen in because the audio is important. Then we'll come back and learn some lessons.
Operators, put the knife down! Operators, put the knife down now! Put it down! Put it down! Put both knives down now! Go to taser, mate. I've got... Put the knife down now! Put it down!
The news story says this guy got a year for brandishing the knives. Let's go back and learn some lessons out of this one. First of all, we see, yes, this is in England, and yes, these officers are both armed with firearms. They do have armed response units, just not every cop that's armed in the UK. So when they do respond, they see this guy who is a deadly threat, and both officers have guns out. This officer draws his firearm when the guy's about 15 feet away from him or so. We talk about the Tooler principle and the fact that somebody who's really motivated can get 21 feet, but that's only if you're standing still. So we're going to see the officer here use his distance effectively. You're going to see him back out of there. And now I do want to pay attention when he's got his gun up if he has to shoot. Let's pay attention here because his backstop in the top, notice that little red thing is a person, but notice the officer that's to the right has a much clearer backstop. Backstop is incredibly important, knowing what your target is and what lies beyond it. So the officer to the left with the handgun would have a very difficult time getting a clean shot here, and God help him if he misses, whereas the officer on the right, much better choice to be on the gun, and that's what he says here. Put your gun away, get to the taser, I have a better backstop, and so the officer does. And this is when a taser is effective. When you have lethal cover against a lethal threat, you can then use the taser. And notice that he's got that taser up and he's got the dot right on him. It's one of the nice things about the taser, even the civilian taser pulse, puts that red dot right out where it's going to go. And so that's helpful, not only an aiming indicator, but can tell the bad guy what's going on as well. And when he pops him, notice when you get the taser in right there, it is incredibly effective. A taser, as opposed to a stun gun, is not a pain compliance device. It overrides your muscular control. That's exactly what it did here. So in this instance, the taser worked incredibly effectively. It got the guy down on the ground without having to shoot him, but the only time that was effective to use it is when they had deadly cover around, which was the officer with the rifle. So all things considered, these officers did a fantastic job, used their partner tactics effectively, used the taser effectively, protected everyone around them, and covered their asp.